I'd love to get my hand on an IWC Mark XX to compare that with the other Laco variant, which is the Stuttgart Pro. I think those two will be a close match. What's the difference? Well, the Stuttgart Pro is now using a higher grade movement, the elaborate movement, which will be an ETA/Salita movement. This particular variant, the option I've chosen, is adjusted to 3 positions, and it's ±14 seconds. And it's on a, very beautiful 37mm circumference. I did get the smaller size for 2 of the females we are giving this watch to. By the way, all Laco straps is proudly being stamped as handmade in Germany, and I have no reason not to believe him. And this is the Type A face, which means it's just simply the outer ring with high legibility in the numerals, whereas this would be called a Type B face, where you've got the traditional hour markers on the inner ring, and the outer ring is you have 5-minute increment ring around the outer ring. The third variant of the Flieger watch I purchased is actually for our watch channel. This one I've gone another level up again, and this is the Karlsruhe Pro, which is essentially the sibling of the Stuttgart, except that we have the outer ring. So they've given it a different name, a Laco. It's got a Swiss movement, which is based on a Salita top grade movement, which is adjusted to 5 positions and ±8 seconds a day, which is extraordinary. And you compare it with, say, an IWC, which, say, not this one, but with the Mark XX, I believe is their own in-house movement, the Mark XX. Technically speaking, are they going to be that much different? Don't forget, the IWC Mark XX, that's a $10,000 watch almost. This here, for me, it's comparable. I'm looking at literally my IWC casing versus this sandblasted Pro edition with a lot more faceted edges and various type of beveling and so forth. This is but a bit over $1,500 versus $10,000. So is an IWC Mark XX Flieger watch justify 10x the price tag of this Laco? I don't know. Leave us your comments and thoughts on it. This is where I normally go, well, if it's a micro brand, the IWC will have heritage and so forth. And I'm like, well, hang on. Laco has as much heritage as IWC. And in fact, given the genre of this particular watch was to made for a function and a purpose for flyers or for pilots, it is all about toughness, robustness. I will probably say the proposition of a Laco sings out far superior than a $10,000 IWC, even though IWC was one of the makers of the Flieger watches. If you look at a Flieger watch, I mean, like, okay, this one IWC is a chronograph, but if you look at a Mark XX IWC, go online if you look at it, and you look at a Stuttgart Pro, and you look at this Karlsruhe Pro, you look at the Arsham blue and the green, Flieger watches all generally look the same. The true essence of a Flieger watch is only meant to have what is necessary on a dial, because it's all about legibility. You don't want to clutter the dial to complicate things. So on that regard, if you are a true lover of Flieger watches, your Flieger watch shouldn't have a branding on it. And I think this is the issue with a lot of the Flieger brands, or the higher luxury brands that makes Flieger watches, is that now we're getting to a point of the saying, well, I think this is a bit overpriced for what it is. When you have an example such as this beautiful Laco Karlsruhe Pro with a high grade movement that's adjusted to 5 positions, ±8 seconds, beautiful finishing on the sandblasting. This one we actually left the FL marking on it because this is a company watch. On the back inscription, we had TGL 2024 and beyond. Prior to me acquiring Laco, the only Flieger that I recognize to be a Flieger is the Zin. Now, Zin are expensive watches now. The 556 I have there, it's quite similar to this, but with their hands, the navigation dials of an aeroplane. The blue first quarter of the hand, and then the white remainder 3/4. Whereas the Lacos, is finished in the very much the vintage style of the hands for these style of watches. So here is my selection of Flieger watches. If you really want to try it out and just have something in your collection to have a bit of fun, go secondhand. You can pick up a lot of these Lacos for under 500 Australian dollars. Just choose wisely from wonderful, wonderful collectors like Tyler from Nashville, who delivered me a pristine watch, and he has such great taste of including this beautiful yellow dial that just makes the blue dial pop so much more, right? Wonderful. So when you go secondhand, you choose wisely. You're going to get an almost brand new watch, half the cost and some, right? So there's my number one important message for this episode. Number two message is that if you're into Flieger watches, look at Laco. My experience with Laco thus far has been nothing short of magical. It's great. It's a solid watch, a wonderful watch. It doesn't matter which one you choose, depending on your budget, you're going to really enjoy it. A little bit more finesse on the pro models versus the standard models. But again, like, these are tool watches. And I literally do use these watches to time one of my hobbies, which requires a timepiece. Isn't that a great thing? You know, finally I can use my watch to do something in my real life. Their website is super simple. You just go there, customize your engraving and so forth, select the different combinations of the models you want, and you give that piece to that person. And I'm pretty sure even if another person wears Laco, it's not going to be that exact watch, because what are the chances of that person having the same combination to the watch you're buying for your friend, your family, or whoever you're buying it for? And then the third messaging is that why go buy an IWC when they're just one of the 5 that made it? Equally the same heritage, but they're going to charge you 8 to 10x. Either IWC is completely ripping us off with their Flieger watches, or the Lacos and the Stowers are severely undercharging us for their watches. The final piece that I like to sort of share with you all is I was very curious buying these Laco watches, because I did reach out to Laco directly to give them the instructions and what and so forth. They were kind enough to give me a discount because the number of watches I was buying. So thank you very much. The gentleman there was Marcel. Thank you, Marcel, for working with me on getting all of the details correct. Everything turned out spick and span. Thank you. And I did actually, you know, by way of telling him that, look, you know, can you share with me a little bit more about Laco's current situation, and you know, how you're making your watches and what part and aspect of your watches are German, because you know our channel is quite famous in hinting that, you know, made in Swiss, made in Germany, or that sort of doesn't normally mean that, right? Because of all the marketing and gray areas in those definitions. And this was his reply: our watch carry the Made in Germany label with pride, reflecting our commitment to maintain the highest standards of craftsmanship. The design, assembly, and rigorous quality control are all carried out in Germany, ensuring the exceptional precision, reliability that define our brand. We also rely on long-established partnerships to source selected components that meet our stringent quality requirements. These trusted collaborations enabled us to offer a product that upholds the value of traditional German engineering, while maintaining the quality and integrity our customers expect from a Laco watch. The message is loud and clear. It all sounds very corporate marketing, but there's a couple of things that sort of was telltale signs here, especially the design, assembly, and rigorous quality control are carried out in Germany. I think with that sentence alone, I can pretty much guarantee you that some of these cases will not be made in Germany. Some of the components will not be made in Germany. Well, we know the movement Miyota is going to be from Japan. The Salida is going to be from Swiss. The cases may be from Asia, guys. The straps, it says made in Germany. I have no reason to not believe that. If the whole thing was made in Germany, they cannot charge that money for it, because they will lose money. It's just simply not a commercial reality. So I dare say this will have Asian components in it. From a German watchmaker, I think this is as close you're going to get by way of a mass-produced watch. You're going to have parts from all over the shop, and they're going to put together a good product. And they have. The thing is, they have. And frankly, looking at their watches, I don't care if this case was made in North Korea, right? Because it is a well-executed piece of kit. And frankly, sometimes it's the package that defines the individual parts rather than the individual parts that defines the package. And on that bombshell, thank you very much.